Okay, so now that we've got two tidy models to use from SketchUp, I'm actually going to bring them into Autodesk Revit. So we're starting up Autodesk Revit, we're going to start a new project, but we won't use this particular tool here because that's got a particular template associated with it. I want you to use the Revit button, New, Project. And when you get this dialog box up, I then want you to browse for the template I want you to use. The template's located on the college computer at CAD Common 2010 Student Info. I'll just browse for it in my location here. And sorry, there it is. So the file is called template.rte. You'll need a copy of that to keep going with this tutorial. So you just click OK to that and it's opened up a fresh blank template for us. Now, I'm going to start laying out some grids first of all, and I'm going to do all of this initially from our True North plan. So I've already established some floor plans here for you. Double click on True North and we'll start working in the True North area. Now I'm just referring to our sketch plan here, and so we're going to set out some grids at 6 metre intervals up to X7, and then as you might remember we've got an extra grid X8 that we call here that was an extra 5 metres after that. So back into Revit, the command is on your home menu, so click on the home tab at the top here and grid is just in this location. So let's lay some vertical grids out first, in around about the location that I'm selecting here, but it doesn't really matter, we can sort of pick them up and move them a little bit later. As I've put the first one in, I want you to then select the text for that first one and change it to capital X0. That's our X0 grid. Click outside to deselect that, and also click the checkbox at the top here so that we turn the bubbles on. I guess go back to modify, so the bubbles are turned on both ends. So once you've done that, you can then copy that, so select it, the context sensitive menu comes up and we can then copy it from a place in space, make sure it's nice and horizontal, and then type 6000. Okay, so that'll automatically then establish the next one for you. Well, I've just escaped out of that command, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select that one, and then when I do the copy command again, if I make sure I've got multiple selected, I can then click on nearest to the grid beforehand and then click to the next grid, to the next grid, and keep doing that until it's snapping to grids all 6 metres apart. Make sure this one, when you get close to that reference plane, so up to X6, X7, and then the last one, just come across and type 5 metres, so 5,000. Okay, so X8 is a 5 metre. If you get anything happening like this, it doesn't matter, we're going to move that out of the way in a second. These reference planes, I'm not too sure that they'll be terribly useful for us just at the moment, so I might delete those reference planes. Even if they're pinned, that's okay, that won't matter. Okay, what I'll do next is I'll just centralise those. I'll just do a crossing window through them and pick them up and sort of centralise them a bit inside our elevation bubbles. Oops, escape out of that. Yeah, just the next one over. Something a bit central like that anyway. And then I'm going to place another grid horizontally, and that will be called Y0, capital Y0, and turn the bubble on the other end of it, and 24,900 was the distance from Y0 to Y1, so select it, copy it down from space, get it nice and vertical, 24,900, press enter. Okay, so we can sort of now, these grids, they're all locked in together, so I just have to select one of them, click in the open circle and edit its length so the grid to grid is sitting about there, and that's not a bad location for them all. Now, Time to do a bit of a save. Now when you do a save, just give this a logical file name. I'm just going to call mine, let's get back up in the right folder. Okay, so we've got a saved copy of that Revit file now. The grids are in the right locations. Now, I'm just going to get the north orientated in the right direction now. Just referring to our sketch plan handout here. This bearing here is 300, just zoom up a bit so we can have a look at it more. This side bearing, which is running parallel to the side of the building, 343 degrees, 42 minutes, 20. So back in Revit, if I was to draw a detail line, so the command is DL, if I was to draw a detail line parallel with the side of the building, and if I was to now rotate that in an anti-clockwise direction opposite to a compass direction of 340, let's get that again, 343, 42, 20, then I'd have where north is. So if I pick up that there, click the rotate command, it's in the modify, it's context sensitive, so go to rotate, pick the rotate center and plonk it on the end of that line, click on the end point of that line as a starting point, and then come back around in an anti-clockwise direction. Make sure it's anti-clockwise direction, so don't do a full half circle like that, otherwise it'll start going clockwise. So in that direction there, type 343 space 42 space 20. The spaces automatically put degrees, minutes and seconds in for you, and press enter. That line then is pointing in the direction of true north. So what I'm going to do now that I know in the direction I want true north to be, I'm then going to, and while I'm definitely in this true north view, the important thing about this true north view is in its view properties, its orientation is set to true north. While I'm in that true north orientation, under manage, I'm going to position, rotate true north, unpin the survey point if you need to, pick the rotate icon up, drop it at the end of that line, point to the other end of that line as the direction of that line at the moment, and then point to the direction you'd like that line to be, which should be straight up the page because this view is orientated to true north. So you've then got your site orientated like that. The grids will be off at askew, of course, but this north direction line is now pointing straight up the page for this view. You'll notice I can get rid of that line now. You'll notice then, if you were to double click and go back to the site plan view, that the project north is still orientated with the building square, but in the true north view we've got the true north view with north pointing straight up the page. So time for another little bit of save while I stop the video and let you catch up.